Morning. Hi, Fiona. Morning. Hintayin natin yung ba? Attendance. Psychology. Hintayin lang natin yung iba na makapasok. Good morning. Good morning, Eduardo Lorenzo. Yes, the Nietzsche reader, Mr. Eduardo. Uh, for this morning's lecture, we will just continue the discussion we had. So we will talk about the 3 moral prerequisites um, proposed by, I think, by Immanuel Kant. The 3 moral prerequisites. Just to emphasize the importance of these 3 moral prerequisites. So that we can use in our succeeding discussion later on when we discuss Aquinas and also when we discuss Immanuel Kant. So please refer again to your reading on the chapter 1 introduction. You read postulates of morality, and then you find the 3 moral prerequisites. Okay, let me find my copy. Agents of morality. Let me have your attendance. Allison, Gail, Jericho, Joshua, Maria Rebby, Shira Richie, Justin, Ken, Flory Joan, Patrick Jerome, Eileen Gabriel, Jose Antonio, Iana Jeline, present. Marie Margaret, Deacon Ezekiel, Eduardo, present. Camille, Camille, Dana Faye, Marie Angeline, present. Ma- Good morning. Ryan Christopher, Maria Kim Eliza, morning. Anna Maria, good morning. Mark Lawrence, good morning. Jessica, Jean Matthew, Ivy Nicole, good morning. Fiona Marie, present. Van Andrew, Althea Dominic, Leila, Ezekiel, uy, may hindi natawag. Ay, mamaya balikan natin. Allison, Gail, Jericho, Maria Rebby, Shira, Eileen Gabriel, Mary Margaret, Camille, Ryan Christopher, Jessica, Jean Matthew, Van Andrew. Anong pangalan yung hindi natawag? Divina Gracia. Jose Antonio. Nandiyan naman. Ano na. Okay. So before we start, how are you? How are you today? Do you have concerns about the class? May mga problema ba na na-encounter? May mga kilala ba kayong enroll dito na wala dito sa ating online classroom? So, no concerns on the readings, on the previous discussion? Okay, so kung wala, no, I will continue our discussion on the three moral prerequisites, no? or three prerequisites of morality. So idaan lang natin sa kwento for us to give substance to this three moral prerequisites. So there are three being identified: will, so referring to the intention, there is an intention for the doer, no, to do the action. intention to commit the action that is being emphasized in this, no? Will. Other one is freedom. In short, there are no restrictions with regards um, a possible third party. No one is enforcing you to commit a certain action. You are not being threatened. So otherwise, there is no freedom when you perform a certain action. You are not being forced to do the action. The third element is knowledge. Precisely, this is a very important one. Uh, we should be conscious when we perform a certain action. That is why circumstances when knowledge is absent, you are not fully aware because of, for example, a certain medical condition that you are not aware of your actions, then um, in the realm of ethics, no, you are not fully held responsible of that action because of the absence of knowledge, no? Maybe due to innocence or due to ignorance. Actually, dalawa pa yan eh. Innocence when di mo talaga concerned, no? For example, um, ano ba to? A doctor, for example, no? Na sabihin natin a surgeon that unfortunately was not able to retrieve the any equipment dun sa maybe a pair of ano bang ginamit ng isang surgeon doon sa kanyang surgery, may inipit siya doon, and then fortunately when they close the or they end the surgery, they forget to retrieve something in the body. May naiwan kumbaga, no, after the surgery they realized that may naiwan pala, no. So there is an absence of knowledge. Di nila alam eh. They do not intentionally left the object in the body. Nakalimutan eh. There is apparent uh, absence of knowledge or awareness. Di nila alam eh. Nakalimutan. So whether it's due to ignorance or innocence, yan ang ano, it's also a concern, no? It's also a concern whether it is innocence or ignorance. For in the case of a doctor, that is simply a form of negligence, no? Kasi dapat meron silang procedure diyan, no, to really able to retrieve anything that is being left in the body. Meron silang standard procedure to check na dapat walang maiwanan after the operation. So whether it's innocence or ignorance, yan ang isa sa titingnan natin. Was it ignorance or innocence? Now, for example, a student na he is enrolled in this class, ethics class, pero hindi niya alam na meron siyang klase ngayon because he was not able to check any possible means to find the information na merong klase ngayon. Siya ba ay responsible for innocence or ignorance? So yan ang tanong. It is also important, it matters kasi pag sinabi mong it is due to, what's the difference, no? Yung tanong natin dito, what's the difference between absence of knowledge due to innocence and due to ignorance? Ano palang pagkakaiba ng innocence and ignorance? So balikan natin yung ano, suppose you ask a uh, anong ibang example natin dito, no? Well, o yung being enrolled in this subject and then you don't know na may pasok ngayon. uh, do you think that it is due to innocence or ignorance? So kayo na lang tatanungin ko, ano. What's the difference between innocence and ignorance? Both condition um, manifest a lack of knowledge. Di mo alam eh. Di mo alam. Parehong di mo alam. In a condition of innocence, di mo alam din. The same way, yung ignorance, di mo rin alam. There's lack of knowledge. There's an apparent lack of knowledge. Pero if you, for example, you ask the policeman, no, or the security guard concerning yung may naiwan sa surgery, no, you could not, of course, held liability or responsibility to the security guard in the hospital, for example. Upon the negligence, hindi mo may blame yan sa security guard or sa policeman. Apparently because it is not their duty to check whether may naiwan ba or not, no? Because it's not their duty. So in a way, they're innocent to that matter, no? Di naman talaga nila concern yan, no? So if you ask a student who is not enrolled in this class, or even even if he is a Litran student but not enrolled to this class, you ask him whether or not I have a class today, um, hindi niya concern yun, no? It's a different matter. Wala siyang pakialam doon. But a student who is enrolled in this class and then hindi niya alam na mayroong klase ngayon, when he is supposedly knowledgeable on this matter because he is enrolled, then there is responsibility, no? So there's a difference. When there's absence of knowledge but it is due to ignorance, you are still held liable, no? Because it's your duty. You're supposed to know this because you're enrolled in this class, no? Being a doctor, you're supposed to know whether or not there is something left in the surgery. So when the absence of knowledge is due to ignorance, still you are partly held responsible for your action, no? But innocence is another thing. Innocence is when you are not really concerned with the action. Hindi mo yan, you're innocent on that matter kasi hindi ko talaga concern yan. Or in other words, I don't have the obligation, I don't have the duty to know these things. Hindi ko yan concern. So that's one consideration in this third element, no? Whether knowledge is present in the action. Yeah. So very important ang element of knowledge. So actually hindi lang sa morality ang scope ng usapin na ito, but in legal matters, no? Yung pumirma ba ay conscious? Alam ba niyang pumirma siya? O hinawakan lang niya yung kamay niya, or he has been deceived? May sinabi sa kanya na kasinungalingan kaya niya pinirmahan, no? Or yung kontrata ay hindi sinabi kung anong nakasulat. Yung bang pumirma ay marunong magbasa? Nakaintindi doon sa kung ano yung kanyang pinirmahan? So it also matters, no, in legal papers. In terms of legality, very important din yung knowledge and awareness. So hindi lang sa pagpirma kundi sa maraming bagay uh, in crimes, for example, no, when the person who committed the crime, meron bang element of knowledge. So that's why yung sa batas, maraming instances na ginagamit ang insanity, plead for insanity as an excuse or a defense of committing the crime. Dahil hindi sila aware, kumbaga, no? And it has to be proven by psychologists. Kaya meron na tayong professional psychologist ngayon. Kailangan ng licensure exam ang psychologist because later on they can testify in the court, no, to prove or to show that this person indeed ay meron siyang insanity, merong lucid interval kung tawagin. Dahil minsan ay matino, minsan ay nawawala siya sa tamang pag-iisip, no? It has to be proven. So psychologists are very important. They play a role in legal procedure. Mag-testify sa court ang isang psychologist, pipirma din yan. So, so yung tingnan natin yung very important yung whether yung category, no, whether the absence of ignorance is due to innocence. Dahil hindi naman talaga niya yan kailangan malaman, no. So being a policeman and a doctor, or the difference between, no, a policeman or the security guard, why should I be held liable when I'm just a security guard and then there is a failure in the surgery? But then the medical doctor of course should be held liable kasi hindi innocence yun, ignorance yun eh. Dapat alam mo yun, no? But you are apparently there's an absence of knowledge, you are ignorant to the matter. So yung in a form of a story, let us try to show these three elements, no, is present in an action. So I don't know if you have this hobby, no, pero for some people, for certain people, no, meron silang hobby na nakahiligan, no. This is just a fictional story, just to emphasize yung natin, yung itong three moral prerequisites, the relevance of these three moral prerequisites. And particularly yung the third one kasi yun yung usually the crucial factor. So let us say for example yung I don't know if may mahilig dito sa inyo yung mga nag bird hunting, yung namamaril doon sa kagubatan, no, ng mga ibon, o bird hunting. So there's for some people there's a hobby of hunting birds, no? So maybe it's illegal, especially if you nakapatay ka ng mga endangered na mga birds, no? Such as yung monkey eating eagle, yung mga malalaking eagle na low flying, tapos barilin mo ng shotgun mo. So it's illegal, no, pag lamang ikaw nahuli ka, mananagot ka sa batas because it's an endangered species. Pero sabihin na natin that hindi naman eagle ang iyong target, no. It's a hobby, gusto mo lang manghuli ng ibon, kumain, no? So, namaril ka ng ibon sa gubat. So, it's a forest. It's a thick forest. So, you would not expect that there's anyone else there. There would be somebody else present in the thick forest. No? Walang tao dito. No? Tahimik dito. So, maril ka nga ng ibon. No? Using your anong tawag ng air gun na yan. Sabihin natin air gun. So, yan ang ginamit. Pellet gun or whatever. No? May baril siya na ginamit to hit the birds. Pero, meron ng may nakita ka ng ibon, no? So you are aiming you're aiming your gun at the bird, no? Paparilin mo na talaga, no? Kasi may nakita ka ng target, no? Na hindi naman eagle, so hindi siya forbidden. So it's a passion na gusto mong gawin because you're an adventurer, no? Ginagawa usually ng mga men, no? Na may hobby sa firing. Yan, bird hunting. Mga lalaki usually ang may hilig sa ganyan. Maaring meron ding mga kababaihan na mahilig sa bird hunting. Police women, no? Siguro. So, nung sabihin natin itong si Juan, no? Si Juan was aiming at the bird. He was about to fire. No? He was about to pull the trigger, aiming at the giant bird. At kinalabit na nga niya yung trigger at pumutok ang kanyang baril. But unfortunately, all of the sudden, when he was firing the shotgun, tumalon-talon, lumundag yung ibon pataas, no? Lumipat ng sanga, no? So, lumihis yung bala. Waga yung balahibo lang ang natamaan ng ibon. So, tumagos yung bala sa bandang likuran. And it is so unfortunate na doon pala sa likod na bahagi ng kagubatan ay merong coconut plantation, mga nyog. And then merong isang coconut farmer umakyat sa nyog at doon na nagulat siya, no? May dumaplis sa kanya na mainit na bala yung galing doon sa bird hunter. So sa kanyang pagkagulat, siya ay disgrasyang nabitawan niya ang paghawak niya doon sa dahon ng niyog. Siya ay nahulog sa puno, nalaglag, no? At tumama doon sa malaking bato, no? Ang kanyang ulo ay tumama sa na naging sanhi ng kanyang pagkamatay. So kalunos-lunos ang nangyari ng isang coconut farmer dahil sa aksidenteng pamamaril, no? Ginawa ni Juan, no? So ngayon, let us say for example in the courtroom, inimbestigahan itong si Juan. So let us say for example napatunayan na siya nga, no, may paraffin test na siya nga nagpaputok siya ng baril, nakita siya sa vicinity, inamin naman niya na nagbaril ako ng ibon kaya may karoon ng pagputok ng baril. So let us examine if these three elements, if these three are present in the act of shooting a bird, will, no? So una, will, no? Intention ba talaga niyang paputukin yung baril niya? Ito ba ay intended na pasabugin, paputukin yung bala? So, magtanong tayo dito, no? Para may interaction naman tayo. Who wants to say something? Mark Lawrence, dali. Mark Lawrence. Okay. Oh, go ahead, go ahead. Ah. Okay, that's good, that's good. Ah. Yes, yes. Ah. Mm-mm. Yeah, yes. Ah. Mm. Yes. Mm. Yes. Mm. Mm. Oo. Mm. 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 Na Oo. Yes. Okay. For with regards to the question whether the gunman, sabihin natin gunman kasi meron siyang ano dito, baril. yung bird shooter, no, will he be responsible for the death of the coconut farmer? Yun na lang ang tanong. Do you think he should be held responsible for the death of the coconut farmer? Eh, yes. Mm. You are referring to the legal matter. He is legally responsible. How about in the ethical sense? Oh. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm. Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark Lawrence. Yes. Let's hear other opinions if there are, no, from the class. Meron bang consenting, what we call that one? Opposing view on this case. May anyone who would disagree with Mark? Let's hear from Jean. Ay, di pala. Ito, was raising a hand. Sino ang gustong ano dyan? Gustong sagutin si... Let's hear from Eduardo, okay? It's an interesting... Yes, yes. Okay. Mm. 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 Yes, thank you, Eduardo. So, with the no with the those shared by Eduardo and Mark, no, you can see that uh, discussions on morality is really crucial. Kumbaga, hindi na mahirap, no, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na mayroong black and white decision on this matter, especially when it tackles morality. Um, Legally speaking, probably meron talagang ano dito, may liability, no, itong si Juan, no? Uh, Especially when proven, no, siya talaga ang kaya nga ang problema dito kay kung talagang anuhin natin when there is a parang kung talagang totoong case trial to, how to prove that ang kaya nahulog si, sabihin natin si Pedro, bakit siya nahulog dahil natamaan siya ng bala. What is our proof to that? Kung halimbawang galos lang yung tumama sa kanya, no? Walang pumasok na bala sa kanyang katawan, no? So that's hard to prove. Pero kung meron namang tama, kahit hindi siya namatay sa bala, but namatay siya nung nahulog siya, may liability, no, in the eyes of the law, no. When proven na ikaw nga yung nagpapaputok, ikaw yung may hawak ng baril, no, may proven yan ng laboratory na ikaw nga yung nagpapaputok ng baril na ito, no. So there's no doubt in court, you will be liable, may pananagutan ka, in short. But in discussions about morality, mahirap di ba? Mahirap i-determine. Pero you could say, for example, na there is an apparent absence of knowledge. I was not aware of it, no? You could simply say that, ay, hindi ko sinadya yon kasi sino bang mag-inakala, no, na may tao dito sa kagubatan, no? Yeah, that could be an excuse, no. Pero on another on second thought, no, kung ikaw nga ay nakarating diyan, then there must be someone else who could also get into that forest. Nakapunta ka nga diyan eh. Di maaring may malamang probability is meron ding posible din na may iba ring tao diyan na nakarating diyan, nakapunta diyan. And it's true, the nature of that hobby is also very dangerous, no? May hawak ang baril, you're holding a firearm. So, kumbaga, hindi lang yung basta simpleng magpahangin ka lang doon sa kagubatan, but you're holding a firearm. So, the nature of that, no, is really dangerous already, no. So there's always a possibility that you could harm another person. So yun ang sinabi ng ating mga kaibigan, no, si Mark at si Ed, no, that for them, no, there is a liability, no? There is still a liability. So, yan, the three elements, no, kailangan magsama yan. You could, itong will and freedom, itong dalawa, circumstantial masyado no, na, pero the third element talaga, no, knowledge, is sometimes, for example, yung driving, reckless driving, for example, pag ikaw ay may nasagasaan, no, kahit hindi mo kasalanan talaga, no, biglang tumawid, in the eyes of the law, ikaw ay may pananagutan. That's a crime pag nakabangga ka ng tao, no, lalo pag namatay, no. So, you'll be held liable. Huhulihin ka, no, lalo na pag nag-hit and run ka, no. So, sabihin natin pinagutan mo, pero you will still have a liability. When in fact, it was only an accident. So in the eyes of the law, you have a liability. In terms of morality kaya, yan naman, another crucial thing. Do you have a moral liability? I mean, do you have a moral liability to his death, no? To the death of the person? Meron ka bang doon? Like, of course, no, may nangyari, namatay nga siya. So, siyempre, naawa ka na rin, tumulong ka. Inako mo yung responsibility. Sige, tutulungan kita. Yung paggastos sa ospital, at iba pang mga kailangan, ay aakuhin ko, no? Kinuha mo yung responsibility. Pero, but you are not, ang dito, inako mo yung responsibility nung after nung yung consequence, inako mo yung responsibility nung after effect ba, yung consequence nung pagkamatay niya. Pero yung referring to the act of death ay yung kumbaga hindi natin masabing killing, no, because there's no intention. Ito naman absent naman nung another element. Ito namang unang element na will, no. So in reckless driving, for example, no, may nabunggo ka nga, no. So one element is absent naman. So kung sa batas, talagang stricto ang batas, no. Sabihin mo hindi mo sinadya, walang intention na pumatay pero may namatay, still you will be held responsible, legally responsible. Pero in morality, there's another question that I want to hear from you. Yung unintentionally, meron kang nasagasaan. All of the sudden, tumakbo yung bata sa gitna ng kalsada. It's too late for you. It's too late na, 'di ba? Kung ilihit kung may gagawin ka doon sa kung i-maneuver mo yung ano mo, baka ikaw pa yung mas lalong madisgrasya, no. So pag wala kang sa bilis ng pangyayari, no, hindi mo nagawang i-move ang iyong ang direksyon ng iyong sasakyan, hindi mo nagawang ibahin ang direksyon at nasagasaan mo talaga, no. So ang ano dito, ethical responsibility ang hinahanap natin. Kasi yung pag sinabi mong tutulungan kita sa gastos, inako mo yung responsibility nung after effect nung action, no. Kumbaga yung consequence nung dahil nabangga siya, namatay siya, the consequence is inako mo. But I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to yung death. Will you be morally liable for the death of a person, yung unintentionally nabangga mo lang? I want to hear from you. What do you think of this? What's your opinion? What's your moral opinion? Sino yun? Hindi ko makita. Wait lang. May anyone would like to say something? Mark Lawrence, okay. Are you raising your hand again, Mark? Sige. Mm. Ah. Mm. 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 Oo. Mm. 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 Oh, kumbaga he could have more careful yung pagdadala no ng sasakyan, no? Uh, mas maingat siya, no? Baka yung speed niya ay masyadong mabilis, kaya hindi na siya nakapag-maneuver at kaya yun nasagasaan niya yung tao. So, so ang ano dito, anong consequence ngayon dito sa first element, no? It seems that apparently wala talagang will eh, but walang will, no? It was unintentional. The accident was unintended, no? Sino bang may gustong maka-harm ng tao? Pero nangyari. Nangyari. No? And because of, yun na, carelessness, lalo na pag yung under the influence of liquor, uh, lalo na pag, ano, no, hindi mo man sabihin mo man hindi ko sinadya, pero, ano, it's too late, no? It happened. And then, so you will still be held morally liable, of course, no? Pero itong ano natin, itong si Immanuel Kant, we will see that hindi absolute ang itong prerequisites na to pala. Kasi even in the absence of one, kasi ang ano ni ano dito, the intention of this distinction by Immanuel Kant is the simple distinction of human acts and acts of man. Ito yung kanyang point dito, no, that human beings will be held liable when they perform human acts. Pero yung acts of man, uh, ay hindi siya part ng category that should be moralized. And so pero ang ano dito, the absence of any of these three elements, kulang lang yung freedom, kulang yung will, kulang yung knowledge, automatic ang category na siya ay acts of man. Kung may kulang, acts of man. Pero yung sa example natin na reckless driving, is will absent or meron pa rin, no? Yung kanyang pagmaneho, no? The act of driving na resulting to the death. Maaring hindi niya sinadya or gustuhin yung banggain, pero yung pagmamaneho niya was freely willed. Nandun pa rin yung presence ng will, freedom and knowledge doon sa usaping reckless driving. So in short, uh, as argued by Mark Lawrence, and I also agree, no, that meron pa ring liability. No? Merong liability. So, the three elements, yun ay ginamit na parameters for us to reflect on our actions um, in the realm of ethics. No? Merong will, freedom, and knowledge. So, actually, yung freedom ay una nang nabanggit ni Kant doon sa kanyang postulates, no, that it's one of the things that we need to assume. So, yun ang ano, yun lang ang ano dito, no, yung relevance ng topic nito, no, to for us to determine yung scope ng liability ng tao, no, with using these three parameters: will, freedom, and knowledge. So, absence of freedom, marami dito yung uh, marami dito yung mga tinakot, no, kung di mo to gagawin, itong mangyari sa iyo. O, magnakaw ka, o di ka magnakaw, may masasaktan sa pamilya mo. So, you are being forced to commit a crime. So, nagnakaw ka na lang kesa may mangyari, no, sa pamilya mo. Siyempre, ayaw mo may mangyaring masama sa yung mga mahal sa buhay. then you commit a certain crime. So, when proven in court, merong legal consequence. Absolutely. Mananagot ka. But, morality speaking, masama pa rin yung ginawa mo, no? Sama pa rin yung ginawa mo eh. So, masama pa rin yun. Kahit na you are held responsible. Maaring ganun ang sasabihin. Another way of looking at it, wala eh. Talagang nasa sitwasyon na wala kang option eh, but to obey. So, that's why you are napilit kang gawin yung crime. So, maaring you would consider, no? You would probably consider na, napilitan lang kasi. Any other thoughts on this topic, the 3 moral prerequisites? May iba pang dito, opinions. What do you think? Please share your thoughts. Yes, Eduardo. Oh. Mm-mm. Okay. Were you raising a question, Eduardo? Um, kung yes. Oh, yung could you give a specific example of what you think as a morally gray area or action? Could you give a specific example para natin, mabigyan natin ng substance? Yeah, of course, there are so-called yung mga amoral actions, no, na hindi naman, not necessarily that right or wrong, no, na hindi natin um, walang moral implications, no. So many actions, no, na posibleng walang moral implications to others, no, like even yung siguro pagkain ng marami, no, these are hindi naman necessarily merong moral implications, eh. And even some people would argue kahit yung paninigarilyo, no, sa when there are no directly impact to others, especially kumbaga pwede nating ma-consider amoral actions, meaning hindi siya concerned whether right or wrong ang action na yon. So maaring that could be what you mean by morally gray, no, na maraming ginagawa ang tao na hindi naman necessarily part or involved with morality, pero kaya lang ginagawa lang talaga ng tao, no. And so pero yung dito, yung usually yung ethical parameter ay ginagamit particularly when it involved with other person, may ibang affected, no? And when for example another crucial debated issue ay yung debate ay yung ano yung the act of suicide, no? The act of suicide, na wherein you are not harming anyone else, no? But you are harming yourself alone. So what ethical responsibility do you have for others, and what ethical responsibility do you have for yourself, no? When you are not harming anyone else but yourself, no? Yan ang maaring pwedeng uh, argument ba, maaring isang area kung saan pwede tayong magdebate, no? In a suicide, who is held morally responsible, no? Siya na nga yung namatay, he is the victim. Siya din ba ang may moral liability? So in the past, no, in the past, especially yung sa religious rights, they are yung mga suicide na suicidal deaths ay in the past hindi binibigyan ah, ng ritual, and in fact yung iba pa ay hindi nilalagay sa cemetery, sa Catholic cemetery, no? So in other words, yung suicidal na tao na namatay ay may subject to discrimination pa, ano? Namatay na nga siya, ah namatay na nga siya, meron pang discrimination ngayon sa kanya. So yan ang yung kung if you have anything else to share on suicide, meron bang moral liability to self, or how do you describe it, no? What is, to whom you give that ethical liability? Ikaw yung parehong victim, ikaw rin yung liable, no? So will this uh, ano prerequisites apply to your action, to the act of suicide? So ginusto niya, syempre siyang niyan eh, nag-live pa nga siya sa Facebook, no, nung nagtangka siyang kitilin ang kanyang buhay, no? Ay Facebook live pa siya, meaning there is will, no? Freedom, walang tumulak sa kanya doon, no? Gusto niya yun, but of course maybe perhaps under the influence of liquor, knowledge. So alam niya mamamatay siya, no? So, present yung element, kaya nga siya di ba, alam niya, no, nagkaroon siya ng existential crisis. Siya ay bored sa kanyang buhay, no? Siya ay karoon ng boredom. So hindi siya kagaya nung daga, no, na kahit napaka-boring yung buhay ng daga, nagtago lang doon sa sulok pero hindi nag-suicide. You have not heard of a mouse committing suicide, but human beings ay may tendency na to commit suicide. But are these three elements present? Yes, meron. May will, may freedom, may knowledge. But yung nagpakamatay, siya ba ay mayroong moral liability to his action? Yan, isang rin, pag-isipan, no? So some would say, what do you think, no? Ano kaya? Do you have opinion to this one? Suicide, may kasalanan ba ako? Kanino ako may kasalanan? Yan ang tanong dito. So sino yun nung nag-ano? Yes, Mark, sige. Oh. Oh. Oo. Mm. 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 Yes. Yes. Ah, thank you, Mark. No, you mentioned Kant. Talagang for Kant, categorically, mali ang pag, the act itself, no, is mali. Because yun nga yung tandaan natin for Immanuel Kant, kung bakit siya relevant sa morality, no, is that yung kanyang concept of life as inviolable, the inviolability of life for Immanuel Kant ay ano yan, walang walang kapalit yan. Life is really essential for Immanuel Kant. Yes, let's hear from Eileen Gabriel. Ah, that's a good question, no? Lalo na kung meron kang maitulong, no? What do you think, no? Uh, ikaw Eileen, no? May sagot ka ba dun sa sarili mong tanong, Eileen, no? What do you think? As the question is very relevant, uh, especially for you, that lalo na are you a psychology student? Mm. Oo. So that's why kailangan yung very important yung tinatawag nating empathy sa tao, no, na alam natin may bumabagabag sa kanya, may problema yung tao eh. So yung the act of compassion, very important yan. Kaya yung in Christianity as a religion, emphasize the importance of compassion, yung act of love, charity towards your neighbor. Yan very important, no. So nakita mo yung tao ay may dinanas na ano, no, hiniwalayan ng kanyang girlfriend, at ngayon parang tatalo na dun sa hagdan, no. Since you have a responsibility towards your fellow human being, no? Maaari mo matulungan, kausapin mo, no? Gusto niyang umiyak, sige, makinig ka doon sa problema niya, no? So, that's true. That's a very good point, Miss Eileen Gabriel. Thank you for sharing your thoughts to us. So, very interesting. That's nice. Anything else? So, okay. Ah, ah, yes, no. Mm-mm. Mm. 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 Ah, kumbaga, what you're saying is that they should, kumbaga, forgive themselves, no? For example, yung the lack of intervention, uh, mm, 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 mm. Yeah, thank you, Mark Lawrence, no? So that's interesting point of view also. For so many cases, meron din talagang reasons, no? But for some, wala eh. Meron nga akong kilala na nagulat na lang yung family na wala talaga silang alam na problema sa bata, no? Isang masayahing bata, no? Then all of the sudden committed this act. And then, wala. Di nila alam. What could be the reason, no? Na minahal nila yung inalagaan na maayos yung anak. Pero despite of that, nangyari pa rin, no? So, uh, that's a mystery talaga. No? It's a mystery of life why it happened. So, thank you, Mark, for your thoughts, no? Eileen, thank you so much, no? So, looking forward for more um, interactions with you in our future topics. Thank you so much for today. And so, perhaps we can proceed with Aristotle and Aquinas on our next discussion. And maybe tingnan natin if kung pwede nating ma-discuss related to Aquinas and Aristotle. So, we ran out of time, so I think that's all for this morning. Thank you so much for your time. Um, so, yun ulit, no? Yung I need your screenshot for today's meeting. Please turn on your camera, and then you take a screenshot of yourself. Then to my email, send to my email. Okay? So you take a screenshot. Thank you so much. Oh, don't forget to send to my email yung screenshots ninyo. Nakapag-screenshot na ba? Okay. May ano naman may roll call of attendance naman kung natawag kayo. It would serve as your attendance din. Okay lang kahit hindi nakapag-send ng screenshot. No problem. Okay, so let us adjourn this online class. Thank you so much. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you, Althea. Thank you, Ed. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mark. Yes, Patrick, still there. Mark, still there. Patrick. Sam.